We're going to welcome everybody online as well as in the room here. Welcome to the Global Center for Christ Consciousness. We'd like to start today's service with our guest musician, Fiona Angel. Please give a warm welcome. Heavenly Father, Mother God, whose presence is heaven. Hallowed, sacred is your name, and the name of your children, made in your image. In this moment, we ask that your kingdom come and be here now, lived through us, just as it is in heaven. In inviting in your presence, we can then know our daily bread would come to us with great ease. Teach us to be as forgiving as you are, Father, Mother, God. And Father, Mother, God, lead us when we are in the temptation to believe that we, any of us, are other than what you've created us to be. In so doing, we are then delivered from our egos and instead restored to our divine inheritance. We can then say, the kingdom of heaven is here now, in and through us, as us, and so it is.
From the book of James. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of any kind, because you know that this testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work in strengthening you, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, peace, clarity, abundance, or anything else, you should ask God, who gives generously to all. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind, never consistent nor steady. Such a person should not expect to receive any goodness from heaven, as they are double-minded and unstable in all they do. Instead, blessed is the one who perseveres during life's tests, because having stood strong through their tests, they will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. This is the crown of Christ's consciousness. And so it is. Please join me in reading our mission statement, located on the white cards in the seat backs in front of you. And together we say, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And so it is. And now welcome back, Fiona Angel.
Can you share with me what most on your mind, what's most of a concern in your heart, your soul, that might be helpful to you to learn about or hear about or share about today? Peace.
Ancient cultural programming.
Cultural programming. The notes of the violin is just right there with sadness or depth or spirit. Okay, go on. Sorry, what? Passing on. There's a theme. Rest in peace, sadness, passing on, dying. What is it?
Heaven's programming.
Heaven. Yes.
Laughter.
Finally. One more. What? Thank you. Ascension. I have to repeat it back for everybody. And what else? Sharks? Okay. All right. Death will not bring the end of having sharks in your life. Just wove that right together. Isn't that amazing? It doesn't end with death. The poor souls that think, and it's understandable to think or assume, that death brings peace or the end of life's test. Everything is so strange and so misunderstood about life. There's people that actually think that they're here to go to school or graduate school, have a child or get married, or maybe a different order than that. But, people think they're jobs and retirement. I mean, people on earth still actually think, first of all, that there's an earth. It's just a hologram. God's children are holy beings in the highest heaven, dreaming that they've left and that they're here doing what? We're all these great teachers and masters. You're evolving. How can you evolve if you're made in God's image? You have to have first devolved to evolve. So really, at the end of the day, the learning curve that drops way down here is going to be us allowing it to raise to where we've never left. So then what's this dip in here called life on earth? And that dip is all our lifetimes. But at some point, when we've healed the stuff from our lifetimes, how much focus are we going to put into that dip? Oh, those are the times when I spent 1,000 lifetimes being less than the perfection that I am. How much emphasis would you want to still put on that? Even reincarnation would ask us to let that go. And then there's not much more investment. There's a great concept in quantum physics, and that is, first, that this is a hologram. And science is some versions of science is trying to understand. You can't really explain. Einstein tried, and he got close to scientifically explaining that there's a God. And, some scientists of the day, to modern times, would say, oh, Einstein, he's old stuff. No, he isn't. Because what he tried to explain was the unexplainable, God scientifically. Well, that means you're going to try to figure out God, and you can't, because God isn't based on your figuring. It's when you stop figuring and you find peace that you'll know God, and knowing God will help you find peace. It goes both ways. But in quantum physics, one concept that this is a hologram. It makes sense. In science and quantum physics, you're made up more of space than you are of solidity. So then why, if I'm standing here, you see me instead of my spaciousness, right? And it's kind of cool to go with spaciousness, because then no matter how big you get and how much weight you gain, you go, I just have more spaciousness. But anyway, new angles on everything here. So If I'm spaciousness, science will tell us I'm more spaciousness than solidity. Then why, when I do that, can I feel a body? Why, when you look, do you see me? It is not our divine beings that see solidity. If you want to see spaciousness, you have to be spacious. You have to be in the consciousness of spirit to see more spirit. So when people seem to die, we think they're gone. I can't see them anymore. It's kind of humorous when you're on the other side looking at all this, because none of that's true. So-and-so seems to have passed away, but they're not. They're just not in the dimension you're in. But even dimensions are based on what dimension is your consciousness. The more 3D you are, the less you can see spirit, the less you can hear spirit and feel spirit. Is that wrong or bad? No, it's just that's your density, your consciousness. Some people have come in here to be totally dense. Why? Because God wanted them to be so? No. That's where you're at. Every sign of the zodiac is telling you various angles of your consciousness, your lessons. I want to work more on this topic. I want to work more on that topic, and whatever it happens to be per sign, right? So as we become more spiritual, everything starts to change. Your investment in the dip and noticing how far other people dip, that person's really bad. That other person's only a little bad. That person's attractive, they're not attractive. Based on what? It's all just our mind making it up. It's my perceptions, my general perceptions. If I have impatience, I'm going to see people that trigger impatience. And I'll have all kinds of reasons why they're bad. Rather than looking at, this is mine. This is my impatience. Attractive people, non-attractive people, it's all opinions. But in this concept, people are more spacious. When you're practicing certain exercises, deep Buddhist meditations, Course in Miracles workbook lessons, and so on, just generally surrendering to God, what happens is it's not an exercise. It's not a technique, spiritual development technique. It isn't. This is consciousness shifts. So when you do deep work, you're not reading, studying, technique-oriented. What's happening is I'm letting go, and I'm choosing a different consciousness to descend into my being, my heart, my soul, and it shows me things differently. So suddenly I'm starting to see sparkles. I'm starting to notice colors around people, aura. I'm starting to feel different. I'm not holding on to resentments like I once did. Things are changing, but that's my choice. It's consciousness shifting. So in one thing related to quantum physics is, if we think of a line of progression, up here, timelessness, God, but somewhere between heaven and consciousness of God, timelessness, is our universe, which has time. So there's a line called a veil between reality and illusion, heaven and earth, heaven and the cosmos for that matter, not just earth, right? There's a line, and there's a point right here between what was heaven, God, love, oneness. There's a point where we descended down into our universe. How far you drop is that learning curve again. How far you drop is up to you. How far you did drop, and your lessons are all related to how you dropped, how far you dropped, that becomes something called guilt and shame. The more you forgive others and yourself, the more this learning curve starts to lift up. I can't relate. Even if you have a history of being here, it's not in my mind anymore. You see, it's disappeared. My old lessons don't seem to be there anymore. I have to even work hard to try to remember who I used to not like, because I started liking everybody more. So, man, there are so many downloads happening all at once. I'm trying to go, hey, one thing at a time, Lord. But anyway, because, you got to keep up with it yet, go be with it. So this concept, there's a point that we came through and did this. Now that point, when did that happen? When did time begin? Let's pretend it's 10 billion years ago. Right there, where we entered, and then the linear universe, time, space, all of that of science manifested. The Big Bang took place and it all happened. We came in and we started doing lifetimes, okay? Now, it happened 10 billion years ago. So what will be the date of when we go home? Now, some people will go 2012, 2020, and you're thinking linearly as like the day of the Lord, the second coming and all this. Even in quantum physics, what would be the date when we go home? Technically, it's 10 billion years ago. Because time, which Einstein proved, time, it all moves in one big circle. He says, if you travel far enough out into the universe, you will eventually end up back where you started, which makes no sense. If I go east in the universe, I'm going east. I'm going to find the end of the universe east. No. Why is it? How is it that he was trying to explain? If you travel far enough in one direction in the universe, you will end up back where you started. Because that's the beauty. I am the Alpha and Omega. Everything begins and ends in God. So all of this stuff, Course in Miracles calls this a journey without distance to a place you never left. So all the bizarre things you have done end up here, which means technically, and I love this sentence in quantum physics, which is, the Big Bang took place. All of time seems to have existed, but their theory is that when you go home, everything that was the expanding universe, which includes time, space, karma, all that, everything that will have to contract because there's a force in the universe called, basically, when the Big Bang takes place, everything is expanding. Well, eventually there will be another force that contracts it all. Right? Now, when is that going to happen? Hold for a moment. It's going to happen. When? Well, again, wait, because you're assuming back to linear time. If we started 10 billion years ago, it already happened. If everything moves in a circle and we fell 10 billion years ago and we also returned 10 billion years ago, we're already back. So the quantum physics line that I love is, and all that seems to have happened will contract into itself, and then it ends with this line, and it'll be as though it never was. Oh, well, there you go. So I don't have to make sure my kids get straight A's, and I don't have to comb my hair, and I don't have to this and that and the other. While you're in the dream, let's have a happy dream. But just know it's a dream. Don't get so bent out of shape over everything. Oh, but some things have to be. Good. You just made an exception to the rule, which means you solidified this dream again. This is your reality. Listen, if you had a dream last night that your partner cheated on you, and then you woke up and started beating them over the head with a pillow because they cheated on you in your dream, first you need some severe therapy. Probably marriage counseling, maybe a lawyer by this time, depending on if there was anything in the pillowcase when you were hitting. But you can see the humor of that, right? Like, you just dreamt it, right? What if everything's a dream? Uh-oh. Well, that kind of just takes the fun out of everything. What's the point of making love if it didn't really happen? What's the point of going on a diet if it's all an illusion? What's the point of being a better person? What's the point of reading a book? Why do anything? Exactly. Which is why so many mystics ended up a little cuckoo. Because once you realize it's a dream, you don't know how to cope with it anymore. Once you realize this is an illusion and you say, I don't need to eat or drink anymore, eventually they'll lock you up. And sometimes it's for your own good. Because even though you're right, you're not being practical about it. You didn't need to stop eating and drinking. What you needed to do was smile more while you eat and drink. Isn't this hilarious? I don't even have a stomach. So I can't even be hungry. But boy, Domino's, man, don't they deliver? So it's all okay, but you're still in the world. But Jesus put it, you be in the world, not of the world. Jesus also says to you, listen, I'm here, man. I got it. I'm the Savior of all beings. I'm the master of all ascended masters. I have the keys to the universe, not the earth, not to a city. I am completely God with you, kind of a Krishna consciousness. I'm not just awake, earthly speaking. I'm not just a prophet on an earthly national level. I am completely the presence of God, the child, the Son of God, the Christ that you are as well. I got it first, and now I'm unlocking all the doors so everybody can get there. Great. Thank you. Which is why the veil in the temple is torn open. In the Bible, they describe upon the crucifixion, the veil in the temple, Jerusalem, was torn open. The reason is because the veil was a curtain that separated the main part of the temple that people could go into from the Holy of Holies, where only God and one high priest could ever commune. And the high priest had to do all kinds of ceremony to awaken, to be purified, or he would fry in the presence of God. Wow, which is great because the Bible has told us if you ever see the face of the Lord, you'd be devoured, demolished, obliterated. But that's because we had such guilt and shame about our oneness with God. You know what God is like? It's separated. So let's separate and put a veil. Let's put a veil there. And anybody that goes in there is going to be just obliterated because of our unworthiness. So then when Jesus is crucified and the veil gets torn in the temple, what does that mean? It's greatly symbolic. Now that Christ has been unleashed onto all mankind, not one person, but delivered to everybody, there is no separation between us and God. That's fantastic. In the temple, but it's not just in the temple. That veil is the one I did this earlier to illustrate. It's the veil between God and all the universe. We're not wrong for believing we're here, but it is a dream. It is a hologram. It will eventually contract and be as though it never was. Okay, well, if that's true, when will that, again, the when, but it already happened. So the intellectual wants to figure out how to find the date. And there'll be all kinds of people with, I'm sure, out there going to start podcasts or whatever it is, YouTube videos about the date. Then you still don't understand. We're already back. Being back doesn't mean you should figure out the date of being back. You should be figuring out how to let go and rest into the peace. What if you already are back? How would you feel? Wow, that's even a little awkward because I don't know how to feel total peace. What do? Do my muscles still defend me and keep me sitting straight up? What if I just become a puddle because I'm so peaceful? What do I do if I'm not trying to control my life, my day-to-day life? Don't I have to figure things out? Yes and no. No, spiritually, everything is okay. And rest in that. Learn to rest in that. Well, yeah, but I want to find a date. I want to find my soulmate. What about, then you're still not peaceful. You're still not resting. Rest in peace is not just for death. It's the symbolic death. Rest in peace. Die of your old self. You don't have to be in the ground or ash or whatever. Rest in peace. Rest in God is what that means. Because God is peace. Peace is God. So rest in peace. Wow. But humans are like, but then what am I going to do with my day? I mean, don't I have to have stuff to worry about and think about and do? So Jesus is saying, you will have plenty of stuff to still do. Know God, know the truth, but respect the illusion. Which things should I worry about? Which things should I do? They'll show up. You don't have to even look for them. It'll show every day. You start the day, you're blissing out in bed, oneness with God. As soon as you get out of bed, you'll realize it's cold. And you'll have your first thing to worry about. You have plenty of time. Then you'll slip on something and, threw out a hip. You'll get to the bathroom and you brush your teeth, your toothbrush breaks. Oh, great. This thing was warranted. Where's the warranties? I hate that I can't find warranties. This world's out to get you. When and on it, you'll have plenty to be all weird about and obsess on. So don't think it's boring to be one with God. We have plenty for you. And on earth, we actually think this is just like linear, finding a better place to shop and get quicker deliveries and figuring out what they did on the updates of your phone. What in God's name? I woke up this morning and it said, hola. I swear to God. I swear to God, I'm like, hola, ¿cómo está? You know, right? ¿Cómo está? You know, like, who am I talking to? It's so weird. So weird, man. We had a hard enough time dealing with people, and now we have devices talking to us. And they call them intelligence of some kind. I don't find it very intelligent, but that's just me. So people are thinking this is what life's about, the stuff, the details, and upgrading this and doing this and that. I got to get a new car, and 3D things, and it's fine. I'm going to have something to eat for breakfast, all the 3D things. What I'm saying is this is a dream, and even though it's a dream, we're not going to just make it black and white where you're here or you're not here. You're not here, but you are dreaming you're here. So while you're here, you have one thing to do. Come to understand that you're not here. And how do you do that? Oh, it's easy. Not by just waiting for your new phone downloads and not just waiting to have a child and so on. No, it's really about seeing life differently. I am on a journey without distance to a place I never left, but it is a journey temporarily. In the journey, it looks like I'm standing here, you're sitting there. But in this whole universe, this time loop, all possibilities happened. Every dimension, every yes, no, maybe decision. Not only did you marry that person, you also didn't. Depends which dimension you're looking at. And that's a little overwhelming for the human brain. But you did all things that could ever be done. We've done them. Not necessarily all lived, but in consciousness, they're all there waiting to be empowered. So you can empower the one where you're a victim, that story, that dimension where that did happen, or you can empower the one that it didn't. And people will think you're insane if you start to identify with the one where it didn't happen. But you're not going crazy. You're just waking up. You're identifying differently. There are people that describe Jesus in the temple. He starts overturning tables, and they said, oh, Jesus became angry. Actually, he did not become angry. But they had to say he was because that's the perception, the dimension they chose was the one where he was angry. When you ask him about it, he's going to say anger would imply judgment. I wasn't angry. I tipped over the tables because they had value in them. So I wanted to say, let's turn your reality upside down. It's pretty cool. But did he do it as though he was firm? Yes, but it's a role you play. Vincent Fernier plays a guy named Alice Cooper, but he doesn't actually sleep and live and breathe and have breakfast. You know, come on, kids, breakfast time. You know, he doesn't he's not Alice Cooper. He knows the difference. And Jesus knows how to play the game. Right? Transgressors. And inside he's like, this is going to be fun. You know, he's keeping his center, but he has to demonstrate it in a way they see. So they write in the Gospels, Jesus became angry. They're seeing it through their own lenses. Because what it means is, I'm writing this gospel here, and what happened today? Well, Jesus overturned the tables. To do that, he would have to have been angry. So Jesus was, you write, Jesus was angry, and he turned over the tables. Because that's their interpretation. They didn't know how to write, and he kept his center. He was calm inside the whole time, but he played the game. You see what I mean by that? Like there's a point. When you're making a point with somebody, sometimes you have to say no. But if you're like, no, not really, they're not going to take you serious. You go, no. You see, you have to show up and portray what you think they're going to need to see in that moment. Everybody does that at some time, or should. Because if your kids say, can we have cake before dinner? And you go, oh, you know you really shouldn't. That did not say no. Oh, you're saying I really, really shouldn't, but doesn't matter. So they have the cake. And you told them they could. No, I didn't. Honey, when partner comes home. I said, no, you didn't. Your lack of centeredness and firmness is also an answer. It means no. So you get clear. No. And you show it outside because that's what they need to see. In a world where we use eyes to perceive, they're going to need to see that. And it's hard to explain to them that you're not angry when you're saying it because humans are projecting. If you looked at me like this, you were angry. See what I'm saying? They're interpreting it the way they want to interpret it. So all of this is a dream. And if we use the body as our map, and there's a reason we created these bodies in terms of the sacred geometry, chakras, the numbers, everything about this tree of life. The tree of the Norse mythology, the tree of the Kabbalah, it's all me. The Garden of Eden is me. God is right here within me. Jesus says that. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Well, what kingdom? The one that God doesn't live in? Well, it's an empty kingdom of heaven that Jesus was talking about. No, the kingdom of heaven is the consciousness of God. So the kingdom of heaven is in you, and it's symbolically in your upper three chakras. Why three? Because the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are God, and they live in heaven. Up in heaven. Point to heaven. Ask an average person, where's heaven? It's up there. Really? Which constellation are you pointing at? Which planet? If the moon's out, do you say there? Because the kingdom of heaven is in one of the craters? Then we got to just keep launching ships and landing all over the moon because we'll find heaven. It doesn't work that way. You're pointing and it doesn't make sense. The kingdom of heaven is up where? Here. It only makes sense to say the kingdom of heaven is within you and that it's up in the sky. It only makes sense to say up in you, right here. So if this is the kingdom of heaven and we once lived there, it means we lived in this consciousness of God. If we fell, we went through a veil. So there isn't God and evil. There's God and a veil. Evil, a veil. So we left God, went through a veil, and that veil becomes a membrane through which everything is seen. We don't see perfectly as God. We see everything through that veil. It becomes a membrane that becomes bodies and matter and everything in the universe. That membrane is the mother, the love of the Holy Spirit, the mother who wears membrane, who allows herself to take on molecules and atoms, to take form. For what purpose? Simply to mirror to us where we're at. So, hello, honey, how are you? I'm good. I'm falling from heaven, though. Oh, that's okay. I'm going to go with you wherever you go. So we go through the membrane. We start becoming matter because this is the materialized membrane. So we go through this membrane, we push through, and we form these bodies. And we go through, we literally take on bodies. But even if you're ethereal, it's still a certain amount of membrane. Separation from total oneness to individuation. We push through this and we enter where? I could talk about it out there. I could tell you how it's in all the mythologies in the universe, but really, you were here. You pushed through, any one of us, we pushed through this veil and we entered here. Not so bad. This is the Garden of Eden, where God comes down to the garden and walks with man, walks with Adam and Eve. See, but we're partly separated already. Does that make sense? It's very ethereal. We will make them in our image. So we were still awake, still spiritual enough. All we had to do is not choose to eat from the tree of judgment. Because if we would have chosen in our hearts, if we choose, anytime we choose forgiveness, the tree of forgiveness, as opposed to the tree of judgment, we could have gone home. You know, I'm feeling a little weird today. What's happening? You're beginning to separate from God. You're still awake and spiritual, but you're not quite total oneness with God. What do? 2 trees before you. Forgive, and you'd go home. For believing you could even slightly separate, it would be all over. And this is not once upon a time. It is once upon a time, but it's also every day. Every day I choose to hold the judgment. I've bitten from the apple. I've bitten from the tree of judgment, the tree of knowledge. Knowledge meaning that I know what's right and wrong, and I know what's reality, and I have fallen, and I need to blame somebody. Hence the whole thing of the woman blaming the serpent, and then man blaming the woman blaming the serpent. All right? So we could have forgiven and gone home. We didn't. Instead, we bit the apple. We felt guilty for biting the apple. It's symbolic. We felt guilty for biting the apple. From that, the guilt and shame gets projected. Onto who? Well, whomever is standing around. When they asked Adam what happened, she did it. When God said, what about you? She the serpent. Oh, are we making up lizards now? Like, just take responsibility and you can go home. No. They did it. They made me do it. Now watch what happens. Here, yes, something strange happened and I began to doubt who I really am. And I forgave myself. Good, home you go. And I forgot who I am, but somebody else made me forget. Now watch what happens. Now, instead of going in and up, you go down and out, which is why everybody feels so down and out living on this planet. Yeah, down and out. Downward you go. You can't go up where there's only God in you, where we're all one. You blamed somebody else. You made up somebody else to be responsible for your separation. We're going to have to go find them. Where are they? Guess. Down. Down in lower centers. Because once we get to the root chakra, we have physical bodies. At the very least, ethereal bodies, if we're in higher dimensions, not home. Ethereal doesn't mean you're one with God yet. Ethereal's halfway there, or in some variation of dimension. So when we blame others, look at the chakras, you get to the 3D. Once you go from here to the heart, fall in the Garden of Eden. I'm sorry, Adam and Eve. You now, which is us, I'm sorry, you bit from judgment. Now you're going to have to go and experience the repercussions of your judgments. You're no longer in heaven. We're not in Kansas anymore. Toto, where are we going? Oh no, we're going to have to find out. What does it mean to judge? What kind of judgment did you do? And how do you feel about judgment? I feel ashamed. We're going to give you bodies to make you feel ashamed. You will be raped at least once in all these lifetimes. You will be molested. You will be spit upon. You will be physically harmed. You'll have a body that doesn't function perfectly because it's all physical shaming that's a reflection of your belief that you are less than divine. And your choice to blame others. As soon as you say others, the root from others also is the word outers, which means others, outers, people out there. And as long as I still talk about what others have done to me, and I know things hurt, and I know people seem to have done these things. I'm not telling you you're wrong for feeling this. I'm just saying you're wrong for feeling, you're feeling ashamed for it. You're feeling confused, conflicted. They did something wrong to you. But what I'm saying is, as you return to holiness, none of it matters anymore. They become inconsequential. The guy or girl who cheated on you, dumped you, didn't give you what you wanted, whatever it is, parents that weren't really, great for you, how could they be? We are in an asylum. You can't just trust the inmates to know your doses of medication. They can't give you the right things and nor fix the wrong things. They're all hurt. They're all scared. You could say they're evil, bad, and put all other names. Take it too far, and you have to deal with the karma of down and out. Keep hating and judging for what they've done. Jesus' angle was, forgive them, they know not what they do. Because they don't. They're insane. They believe they're separate from God, they're feeling angst, and they're taking it out on others. They're going back to the tree of judgment every day, eating from that tree. And our job, and it's not as hard as it sounds, our job is to say, I get it. I really do. I can see that that person's scared and desperate, as rude as they are. People that look at you for doing nothing. Somebody thinks that you cut them off on the road and you didn't. It was a different car and they thought it was you. And they're in their car flipping you off. They're turning red, gritting their teeth, screaming. And you're in your little Prius, oh my God, I thought by having an electric car, everybody would be nice to me. No, you just get different ragers that don't like Priuses. So nothing in this world can make you safe from all of that, because the hologram is mirroring I, my issues, the I, and us. Even when I totally get it together, the world's still going to mirror the collective fear of being apart from God, the collective blame, because people have to do something with it. I feel pretty bad. This morning I woke up and realized, oh my God, I get it. There was God and we were part of God and we were feeling all blissful and peaceful. It's so beautiful. But then we fell. Wait, whose fault was it? My mother. You're going to have to come up with somebody to feel better, but you don't feel better. You think you do. Judgment, blame, it temporarily feels better, but it's not real. Right? It's not real. So the real job, the real work does involve responsibility. Not blame on yourself, but just responsibility. What if this is a hologram? What if it is a journey without distance to a place in heaven? How can I see this differently? And here's one way to look at it. What if it's all right here in my being, my body, as a map? Once upon a time, I was one of, oh my God, then if we separated to a place of paradise, beauty, that's got to be my heart and soul. Right, Eden is right here. Makes total sense. Wait, but we didn't stay in Eden. No, you didn't. We bit from judgment and can no longer live in our hearts. You know why? Because forgiveness is waiting for us in our hearts. But if you're in your head, your emotions, or your body, you will not find the solution to get home. Science cannot get you there. Any kind of emotions, if somebody loves you enough, can't get you there. Body, you can't have enough cars. You can't have enough sex. You can't fast long enough to get here because nothing of this brings you here. This is the result of my misbeliefs and perceptions here in my heart. I have to get to a place of blessing and forgiving everything, not making myself pretend that I forgive everything. Be okay that some days you're saying, not today. This one's just hitting me too hard. Be okay with that. Shaming yourself for not forgiving isn't forgiving. See through it. Own it. And set your course to say, no, but soon I think I'll be there. At least just put that out there that, yes, that is my goal. I'm just not feeling yet there today. Don't affirm, I will never. Just say, yeah, maybe sometime. Leave a little foot in the door. Because that little willingness, that foot in the door, allows higher consciousness and grace to come through us and manifest healing sooner than if we decide to try to control all this. So all of a sudden, what are you doing in your life? Were you a warrior in another lifetime? Guaranteed that most people watching, listening, most people on earth have been a warrior at least once, which means you hacked at people. You shot arrows, you shot guns, you did naughty things, and hurt people. You tried to win. You thought your side was right, or whatever your reason. But the point is, that was me in my root chakra. Then some of you went to university and studied in this lifetime, and that you became an academic, you became a librarian, you learned and studied. That's intellectual chakra. Some of us have had lifetimes when we're just family and kids, and that's the emotional chakra. In other words, what I'm saying is anything you've ever done in any life, all it was you walking through your own centers. When you learned more about the body and massage and sexuality and healing and body stuff, you were just working on your physical chakra. When you were being promiscuous and abusing your body, you were still studying your root chakra. I wonder what this is about. Let me try that 300 times. And God isn't going, la 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 la. I can't watch. We're going to review your previous lifetime, and Jesus is like, la 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 la. I can't. I've never been with somebody that slept with that many people, or people that have gone into war and killed. Oh my God, this is horrible. This is all our projections onto God. God's like, I'm here where everything is cool, and none of that even happened. You're talking about a hologram. Fine, you can pray and talk about the hologram. Hey, God, in this hologram, I don't have any money whatsoever and I'd like some help. God's not going, well, since you asked, I'll give you help. God's going, let's shift your consciousness. Because it's all about consciousness. So when you say, dear Lord, send me food, oh my God, then an hour later somebody manifested food. It wasn't God like sending an angel to give you food, just catering to your opinions of what you need. God would say, well, You can have anything you want. You're living in the garden, aren't you? No, we left the garden. Oh, see, we're back to that again. Get back to the garden every day. How? Forgiveness. Keep forgiving everything that appears to have power over you. Keep forgiving even things that seem apart, like that person sitting over there and that person isn't. You know, there's that person and there's nobody in that chair. There's one and there isn't. No, it's all just a hologram. There appears to be one, there appears to be none. My opinions. For some reason, I believed that there should be one and none. I believe that there should only be one sun in the sky, one moon at night. This is our collective beliefs. But the outside is mirroring what we've already agreed would be there. So my soul has gone from my living in the garden, cast out of the garden, now down into the world, where we're told, woman, you will now have pain when giving birth. Man, you will now have to labor for things, for food and so on. That means we've gone from where we could just manifest instantaneously through consciousness when we're still here. None of it's even there to do. Here in the garden, where we're a little bit forgetting who we are, we have to, be at peace and we could manifest instantaneously. When you leave the garden, everything becomes a second veil. Here's the one veil between spirit and the universe. Here's another veil, and it's symbolized. You have something called a diaphragm. The diaphragm in your body is like a thick rubber band that says, and I'm partly being playful, but I'm partly telling you there's a reason that there's a diaphragm. And it has nothing to do with just keeping some organs up and some down. The diaphragm is there as a symbol. You will never get back to the garden. You can't get back into your heart. The diaphragm is a musculature that says we're just like a rubber band. You try to rise and we're going to bounce you back. Coincidentally, but not coincidentally, every time you die, you leave your physical body, because you asked about death and so on. You leave your physical body, you enter your astral body, which is your navel center, and you live there for a while. Then you rise to the mental body, the next level up, and then they hand you papers and you go back again to work on whatever they've evaluated, you and they evaluated what you need to work on. But wait, I heard that you're not there. Only ascended masters have ever pierced the veil of this and gone here. Moses, Mother Mary, Buddha, so many great, Saint Germain, Kutumi, have all reached this level. They're not home. They're ascended beyond this diaphragm. Christ, Jesus becoming Christ means he went to the third section up. He went to the throat center because that's the Father, Son, and the Father and Mother, but the Son. So this is our Christ center. We are the spoken word throat center of God. See? So Christ made it here. The veil was torn open for all of us to re-access the holy word in our ability to pray, in our ability not just to beg, I'm talking about to pray, to do blessings for people. Step up to who you really are and access instead of I have something to say, I don't like politics. I don't like this group or that group and blah, 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 blah. Man, you are using the Lord's name in vain. Complaining, bitching and moaning, judging, venting. It's all using God's name in vain, which is one of the commandments. Don't do it. Yeah, but I have something to say. We would recommend you not do it. Well, I just want to say, because everybody needs to know the truth about the president or somebody out there. Oh, go ahead. Well, I think blah, 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 blah. And we've proven blah, 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 blah. Great. When you're done, you will fall and you will fall again and you will reap the effects of everything you just said. All your hate-tainted words. Where's not just love, theoretical, where's the presence of God in your words? Go ahead and say the words, even if you feel you have to. I don't like this and that and the other about this politician. And then what? But I'm working on seeing it differently. Where's that? See, if you're going to vent, at least pull it around, man. Which is when you do that, when you say, I got to tell you about my ex-wife or whatever it is, my parents, blah, 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 blah. But things are changing in me around that. Here's what you've done. You've separated from God. You vented, and then you chose to bring it full circle back to God. You vented, and be careful, because all that you're saying, thinking, doing is going to have some karmic effect. But at least when you say but and giving it hope, you're allowing the karma you put out to not be written in stone and have to come back. It's written in sand. It might more easily be brushed off or washed away. So be careful how firm you're going to have how firm you are with your judgments and opinions. It just gets to the point, the more you wake up, you go, I'm not even going to bother sharing an opinion about that because opinions are always wrong and I'm just not in the mood to be wrong anymore. It just kind of doesn't do much good for me. So in closing that, all you've ever done was journey through yourself. Anything you've ever done that has to do with focus, willpower, learning, knowledge, you were working on your solar plexus center. They call it the abdominal brain because it's brain. It's related to thinking. Okay? So that's the human thinker. When you're working on inner child work, addiction, family of origin work, you're working on the navel center, emotions. Even when you're working on psychic development and such, navel center, it's cool. And then when you're working on health, even if you're neglecting your health, total full-blown drug addict, you are still going through tests related to your root chakra, as well as emotional chakra, because there's more than one usually. But what I'm saying is anything related to your body, you're actually just down here working on you. Well, it's not much working if I'm just a drug addict. No, you know why? Because it's two ways you work on this, the easy way and the hard way. The one is where you are full-blown abusing your body, whether it's promiscuity, whether it's addiction, or whatever. You're abusing your body. But the easier way is to realize, you know what? I'm going to start putting love into my body and have a greater integrity. I'm going to choose who I would be with. I'm going to choose what goes into my body and so on. You start doing things the easier way. People assume that's called the easy way. No, it's easier. When you say, I used to do things the hard way. I was asleep, man. I was so messed up. I was doing every kind of drug, sex, rock and roll, blah, 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 all that. But then I woke up and now I'm really conscious about what I eat. I read labels. I have a calculator. I have my phone that says hola. And I say, ¿por qué? You know, comida, mucho tóxico. And you're looking up the toxins in foods. It's nice because it shows you care, right? It doesn't mean it's the easy way because you still think there's a body to fix. There's a point where you go, you know what? I first of all was doing harm. Now I'm doing healthiness to myself. I like that. But the next step is, why am I doing healthier? Because it's better for me, better for God, right? You're still working to get there. The easy way is to say, wait, what if I'm already one with God? Now, instead of, I'll eat the right foods that God would want, no. Connect with God first and you'll be guided what's right for you. See how there's that peace that happens when I even said that. One is, watch out, I'm doing bad things. The next is, oh, I'm getting better and I'm doing it right. There's still a certain, do you see? I'm doing it right. I'm better now. And instead you go to a place of, you're plugged in. There's like less doing, more relaxed, more being. And it will change what you eat, but you won't hide from those foods, nor will you use them to abuse yourself. It's different. It starts to become the greatest example of what we call organic. All of a sudden, that makes sense. You can still make love, but it won't be desperate to get something. It's more like, I feel enough love within me, and there's enough of a connection and a mutuality of love and respect. You can share that, and it's fine. And the same with foods. You don't go, I'm not allowed to eat that because it has something bad in it. You'll get to a point where if God is with me, what's against me? It doesn't matter. You would be able to fortify air with nutrients because it's in your consciousness. And I'm not saying everybody should leave here now and say, that's it, I'm never eating and I'm just going to fortify the air. No, eat, drink, and be merry. But look at where you are on your path. Are you abusing yourself? Forgive you, you know not what you do. So get better and do it all right and eat and drink and give up addictions. Do that, And you probably will be swinging the opposite. You're doing everything healthy instead of unhealthy, but watch that you don't get too intense about it. Don't judge yourself for having a chocolate bar. Oh my God, I've been fasting and only eating apples and fruits and veggies for a week, and I sinned, and now you're just making a religion out of it. Least of all should you go tell other people how they're food sinners. Because you're still on that weird bandwagon of people, humans. Just relax, and when people say you look healthier, yeah, thank you, I do, I feel healthier. What are you eating? It's hard to explain. So Jesus said, I have food you know not of. That's what he was saying. Jesus, you must be totally shopping over at the local granola store, Absolutely, man, I only do the most pure. Oh my God. Nothing in food would be pure enough for his consciousness if he obsessed like that. Because if it's dense, it's already a little weird. It's not totally ethereal. But I have food you know not of. It means being one with God will give you all that you need. I know as a human, you'll say, fine. So because I was been thinking lately that I would really love someone in my life. Just can I please? Is it okay that I have somebody to snuggle with? Or is that bad, shameful, low consciousness? No, it's okay. That is not God speaking. I need somebody to cuddle with. That isn't God. But you can just say, isn't that funny? I know about this oneness concept, but it still feels nice to just kind of snuggle in there. It's okay. It's okay. Don't judge yourself for it. But the more we bring consciousness in, the less that the snuggle gets misinterpreted or drawn out to some other conclusion. It's just everything you do is enough. There's a saying, when the dance is good, then the dance is enough. Okay, when you're in the right consciousness, everything is fine. What you eat will fortify you. Even affection will become all the cuddling you craved. An act of affection, just hugging a person, becomes perfect because there's no judgment that it's less, that you need more, which affirms the fall. It's okay, we're going to slip. But remember, all of the things you've ever done, any of it, having children is one of these chakras. Having parents is one of these chakras. Reading books on certain topics, empowerment, willpower, it's just one of your own chakras. You think you went to school. You only went to yourself. It's just an outer manifestation. When you started taking better care, something in you changed. It's not the outside. I don't care what traffic school. It's still you. We know the ones that went there recently, right? No, but it's you doing something in this world. You follow? But it's actually you within yourself. All the things you have done. We think we fell. We think we're now imperfect, and now we're trying to what's called evolve. But the truth is, you can't evolve perfection. What we did is we fell, and then we started creating life's tests. The betrayals are tests. The achievement, licenses, permits, and they're all tests of some kind. They're all about me. And you realize that all the ancient stories of mythology with the hero's journey is someone weaving through themselves, not upward and out, but just in and then down a little and up and left and right. And it's you journeying within yourself. Tell me anything you've done in your life, and I can tell you which chakra you were working on. Well, but it's not me. This person did. What did they do? They betrayed me. How did that hit you? Well, depression and loss. That's you working on your emotional chakra. How'd you do? Well, what do you mean? They betrayed me. I'm hurt. Oh, so you haven't passed that test yet. You see what I'm saying? It's all connected. An intelligent design. Humans say, this is God putting me through this. No, you're the God putting yourself through it. God didn't say, you really need to work on your IQ. You really need to lose a few pounds. God doesn't connect like that at all. At all. God says, how are you doing? Fine, accept. And God says, well, then you might want to work on that because you said it's a problem. Your achievements, get too proud of them. Those two will become a lesson. So what's the purpose to life's tests? There is no purpose because we're not here. But if you start and end a lecture like that, wow, where does that go? Write a book. How many books can you sell when all the pages are blank but one? You're not really here. Like that, everybody's going to be like, I bought it, but I want a refund. But then the clerk should say, why? You're not here, you know? Boy, that's a scam waiting to happen, right? But you're not here. It isn't happening, but you think it is. I focus a lot in my book called The 7 Initiations on the Spiritual Path. And I talk about a lot of this here in that book because it's about I get it now. This is all me. And the ancients that used to go to temples and centers and initiatory experiences and all the deep meditations, it was all just them experiencing themselves. When they went into the Great Pyramid, it was a metaphor of them going into their higher selves. When they fasted, they were fasting for them. It wasn't the food out here. It was a shift in here. Anything you've ever done, good or bad, pros or cons, whether involved just yourself or others, it was always telling us about you and your inner experience. They were always, even though there's no purpose to life test, really, while we're here, there is a purpose. And it's always about healing, learning and healing, 2 things. Learning and healing, and those are obviously overlapped, but learning and healing. There's only one other purpose, and that is to reap the experience, the benefit, the outcome of what you learned and healed. Don't learn and heal, you'll have that. Learn and heal, you'll have that, the outcome. So the more you grow in your learning and healing, the more you will see it out here. Don't, and you will see that. That's it. And when you don't get it completed in this lifetime, and most people don't in the one lifetime they hear this, when you get it though, you won't need to reincarnate. And you can go past this barrier, this diaphragm that bounces you back down. When you pass away, you will go through these dimensions, you will hit that proverbial diaphragm, and it'll bounce you right back to earth. Until the day you come up here and they say, well, where's your file? Well, right here. Where's the pages? I don't know. Look in there, that's my file. It's empty. Congratulations. And this door opens right here, and you can become an ascended master. Even as an ascended master, they'll say, what would you like now? Well, I'm an ascended master. I think I'll just bliss out, and this will be cool. They always throw this in there. And you can do that. We empower you. We love it. Enjoy the Garden of Eden. Thank you. And they'll say, but, there's a lot of people on earth that still haven't reached that. And, if you'd like to go back, we're just saying, if you'd like to go back. But it's up to you, master. You can hang out and fanning, and all these great things will happen. But we're just saying that there are people that could probably use your help. And if you're a Buddha awakened, you might hang here as a master. If you're a bodhisattva, you might say, fine, how can I be helpful? But you don't have to, but it is another level of consciousness to say, but I'm still willing to help. And you might only go down to the astral level and whisper in the ears of friends and people you can relate to, not just literal friends, but even people who can identify. If you were a previous musician, you might be whispering in the ears of musicians. They'll give you assignments from astral to astral. It's great, talking to their minds and whispering in their ears when they're sleeping. It's beautiful. Some people go, man, I'm going all the way. I'm going to incarnate again. And it's cool. And you think there's like a water birth waiting, conscious parents who are oming, and the mom is just birthing, no problem. Instead, a lot of times you're coming in as a bodhisattva to make a difference in the lives of people who need it. And so they're not there to praise the arrival of you. You're born in a manger. You're born in a cave with people ridiculing all around you. The death of babies shortly after. That's what you're sometimes born into. So it's not always water birth and everything and new age music playing in the, it's like, is it here yet? The dad, come on, man, I can't wait much longer. And the woman's like, why did I make love to that guy? It's a completely different atmosphere. And the bodhisattva's coming, you got to be kidding me. You guys didn't tell me all this. And they say, well, we did, but you chose to forget, which is a wise thing to do if you're going into this family. So those of you not just literal bodhisattvas, any of you who choose to not just grow and awaken in your life, any of you who also take the time to say, how can I make a difference? It's beautiful. It's a bodhisattva who has had awakenings. It doesn't mean you're perfect, but you've had awakenings, but you're still willing to take the time, A, to be of service that could need it, and to forgive those who aren't very kind. Then you're living the life of a bodhisattva. Even if you weren't one, you are now. Please take a few centering breaths. Go for it. Let the notes, the sounds, dissolve tensions in your mind and body. Take a moment to imagine before you're born. Look at all the myriad variety of things that could happen to you in this lifetime. Just look at what happened. Before you're here, you see that you were going to marry and divorce or stay married. You see general health condition. Spiritual growth, intellectual development, friendships, whatever's coming to your mind. You are seeing an overview of what is to come. You can believe it's all by chance, yes or no, and you choose. You can believe God threw you into it like fate. It is God's command that you do this for reasons you'll never know. It's the mysteries of God, they call it. Or you can say, no, I don't believe that. Karma, which is true, but it doesn't have to seem so fatalistic. And even if it's karma, shift one more time. What if I set it all up to heal what I needed to heal and learn what I needed to learn? I'm not justifying hurtfulness. I'm saying, what if? What if you're a master and you set it all up? Jesus himself said, this is all designed. I know exactly what I'm doing. Even the hurts coming his way. Betrayals. How does that feel to imagine that it's all happening by your design? If you don't like it, cry inside or out and say, this is hard for me, but I trust that this is possible, and give it to God. Or if you're totally willing to see it, what's happening? Just watch. Epiphanies, ahas, empowerment, all kinds of things could come your way. It's beautiful. I am willing to return to the garden where the choice is mine. And in this place of power, from here on, I'll see all the events in my life as opportunities for learning and healing, or reaping the benefits of the learning and healing that I chose. everything different. I can wave my hand and manifest anything. I was afraid of that, but no longer. I get it. I need nothing. But as a master, as a chooser, I can choose to experience. And that I do. I give thanks, Father, Mother, God, that somehow today I see a mirror of my awakening. If I've enjoyed this service and the person speaking and the people that asked certain topics, they're all me. Anything here I didn't like is me. And I give thanks that I'm entering my life a completely different person. But guide me and show me how. I do not choose to do this of my own accord. Guide me every thought, word, and deed. And in advance, I give thanks. And I can hear the angels saying hallelujah that another child of God chose to awaken. And I can also hear the hearts and souls of anybody, nice and not nice person, that I can make a difference in their lives. Their soul is going to celebrate that someone cared enough. Thank you for the courage and clarity. And so it is. Very nice. Center back into the room. Share, if you can, what you gained from the service and or the meditation, just briefly. Stay nice and deep inside, but share briefly. Yes?
I have a question about when you bring up hologram. I see it as a space. Can you explain to me exactly what it is so I can understand it better?
Well, all of space, all of the universe is the hologram. It's like a projector screen shoots images onto a screen that's just two-dimensional or whatever. Hologram means it's got depth, width, height. A hologram means it's a whole image, not a flat image, a whole image. So it seems more real because we decided that 3D proves its existence, and it doesn't. The more tangible it looks, the more it's lying to you, strangely enough. The more solid something appears to be, it's lying to you. Not because it's trying to lie to you, but what I'm saying is it's building evidence. And so the hologram means a three-dimensional whole image of something appearing to be. Why is it there? Lessons in healing. So what am I needing to learn or heal today? We get it. We do whatever process, healing, love, forgiveness, even just prayer, whatever. And it shifts the tenacity of what seemed to be there. And you no longer choose to believe these things. A yogi would say, all your senses are lying to you. They're trying to prove something, but why would it try so hard to prove it? Because the ego hijacked it all and said, we're going to use the 3D world to prove you're here. Well, okay, I'm here. No, if it proves you're here, it means you're not there, one with God. So every testimony of your being a limited being is proof that you're not in the unlimited consciousness of God. So it might seem harmless, but no, it's a complete lie, and then we buy the lie, and then we all live in this hypnotic spell that we're limited beings. Anyone else? Yes?
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So then how do we manage the scarcity and the associated suffering that comes with it in this 3D hologram?
Yeah. So how to deal with it's like we're starting another service, but we won't, I promise. But how do you then deal with the scarcity and the the tenaciousness of the illusion. I mean, like Einstein said, this is an illusion, albeit a tenacious one. It's still an illusion. It will keep trying to prove itself. So what can we do? First and foremost, pray. Pray to learn love and forgiveness. Pray that this world, hey God, guess what? This world seems so there. Somebody flipped me off today. I saw it. It was a 3-dimensional finger pointing up to the sky. And it wasn't, go home to God. It was some other, and I feel really upset about it. You know, no matter, I have it on videotape. I use my Ola phone to film it. I have proof. Be careful with all this artificial intelligence. It's artificial. Be careful with all this smartphone. They're not that smart because they're not reflecting God. People are driving by accidents, filming with their phone. If that was your child there, you should be disgusted. In one sense. In another, nothing has any power over you. But in a world that you think you want to fall in love with, and that's the world you want to fall in love with, it's messed up and it's proving itself. The condition of the world is going in the direction of teaching us, it's learning and healing. Let's heal our belief in separation and let's learn. This does not have the power we thought it did. Learn to let go of being attached to this world in any way. That doesn't mean be cold and detached. Be non-attached. Here, but not in the game, not buying into it so much. Be careful not to get on and start watching gossip and hate things that people project on there. I don't typically do any of that sort of stuff. I'm not interested. Not because it's like, no, it's evil. I don't care. It's not of interest. And that's a good sign for you. When you don't just avoid the stuff, you're not interested in it. That's a real sign of being even more awake. Okay? One more.
To speak to his question and your answer, something popped into my head, and it said, if this is reality, I'm only going as a tourist.
Good. Yeah. I'm only here on tour. Yeah. I'm just yeah. You know, that's cool. I'm just a tourist visiting. That's exactly right. And there's quirky, funny little ways to look at life like that. Honestly, that helps you to see it as, this isn't my home. It isn't. That's not just a hope. And I'm not making you to try to make you feel bad for anything you like in this place. Enjoy it. Just don't get attached to it. Enjoy it in the moment. But don't think it. I finally met somebody that tells me I'm wonderful. Well, how come you didn't already know that? Because if you don't know that and you get them in your life and they make you feel better, I promise you, it will end. And you're going to still be back not only to where you were when you didn't know who you were, but it comes back with interest rates. Because you took a break and you let that person be the one that makes you feel great. When they go, and they will, every relationship ends in death or divorce. You know, some kind of a departure. Buddha's telling you that. Life is suffering because if you don't like what's happening, you're suffering. If you like it, you're going to get attached to it. It's going to end, and then you're going to suffer anyway. So, like, oh my God, they shouldn't call his teachings mantras. They should call them, moods, like really depressing moods. But it's because what he's telling you is upsetting to the ego. He's telling you it will not do you any good to find something to get attached to because you don't really need it. Read a book. Absolutely. Take a class. But don't think, the way to wrap your mind around it is this. It's not giving you, it's reflecting you. So if I go to read a book that I hear is great, read it, but don't go, oh my God, I better get this right. The desperation means you're already off and you need the book. Sit in it and go, this is great that I'm at this level of consciousness now where this book can reflect that to me. When you have a relationship, don't, oh my God, they're better than anybody else, got to have them forever. Stop. It's great that I've reached this level of integrity where this person is mirroring a bit of growth for me. And trust me, generally speaking in our relations, better doesn't mean great. It means better than not great. The people that you truly are experiencing love with and God with and respect with, that's cool. But it isn't they're giving you, they're reflecting you. That's the key. They're not giving you because then you'll attach. They're reflecting you. Do you see the difference? wow, you won the lottery. The lottery's giving me money. The state gave me. No, this is your consciousness. And you are seeing a reflection of your consciousness. Congratulations. You see? If somebody hands you $1,000 gift and you clench your hands to it, the clenching means oh my God, see, there's a desperation. I've never had this. Someone's going to try to take it. You see, and now a friend of mine said back when I was in high school, they started putting all these surveillance things in 7-Elevens, all those stores, right? He's going, isn't it weird that they put $30,000 security systems to protect 20-cent Twinkies? Like, you know, as soon as you gotta protect it. If you have it here, nobody can take it away. It's in your consciousness. Nelson Mandela and people like this that have been imprisoned, apostles imprisoned, they can say, you still don't get it. The more you try to torture me, it's because you're so upset that you can't control this, my soul. And that does upset people. When somebody says, if you don't do this with me, I'm going to leave. Okay. And oh, you never loved me. You never liked me. I'm going to tell everybody you're a mean person. You're cold because you're just standing here. They don't see you breaking down over their stuff. And they will accuse you of things. Just your centeredness is enough to trigger. But it isn't triggering God or any child of God that's awake. It's only triggering people that are so separate from God, they're desperate, they're hurting inside, and they got to vent on people that seem to have it together. So take good care of thine self. Let's do our collection and our closing prayer. Thanks for the extra time today. After all, we did have to cover death, depression, sharks, sadness. Yeah. Wow. And we made it work. Be as generous as you can be. The folks online, there's a button you can click to make donations there. Here, they go in the bags. Please remember, all your donations in the bags. Any extra donations, any extra you can give, whether it's change at the bottom of your purse or a tithe, a great donation, those go in the baskets. We use those for people of lesser means and sometimes special projects that we're on. So breathing, centering, and our prosperity blessing. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. It'll only take them a minute to do that. Please remember, any comment made by other people, any whatever people do, actions and words, and they're mirroring your own subtle little doubts. You get that? No matter what it is, they're mirroring. But the problem is they're magnifying the mirroring so you can see it. Even your most subtle doubts about yourself have to get magnified for you to see them more clearly. And the more annoying people are, the more magnifying they are. It means, I guess you didn't get the message when it was sent to you more subtly. So even the more annoying people become, it's a sign of still back to you. I guess I didn't see it earlier. And one last thing on that. Dreams. What's more fun, dreams or nightmares? Which one? Dreams. Nightmares are actually better. They're more important. You know why? Because they're telling you the messages you didn't listen to in your dreams. They're more dramatic and scary because they're going, hey, wake up. And you're like, oh my God, night sweats and all this stuff, and you're terrified. But the nightmare was telling you, hi, we sent 9 times dreams more subtle that you should put more iron in your diet, or you should maybe steer clear of that person for a while, whatever it was. You didn't listen, so now it's dramatic. And that's what this world does. Drama. It doesn't have to hit you so hard when you see it for what it is. A couple of quick announcements. First, online, please remember, we have our Sunday services here. But we also have a Monday program. If you want to join that, it's a kind of questions and answers. We just go through everything we can think of. On Monday, 11 till about 12:30, it's about an hour and a half. So you can join us there. And to get there, you just go onto our Facebook group, Friends of Michael Mirdad, and then you'll get into the Zoom group for Monday. There's another one every other Saturday, Daughters of Heaven group. There's a Facebook group, Daughters of Heaven. That'll get you into the every other Saturday Zoom group where we're sitting there live talking together. There's also a book and a website about the Daughters of Heaven in case you want to know more about this. It's almost like light workers squared. You know, it's like to a whole new level of being light workers, more devotional, more, you know, devoted to being channels of God, to being the presence of God in our day-to-day lives. It's almost like it's a circle of bodhisattvas, but it's got just such a gentle energy to it. So you're welcome to join us there. You can shut whoever's alarm that is. That would be great. We have a sink where you can put, never mind. If you put it in water, it usually helps the tone of your phone ringing. So what else we got? The Enchanted Healing Room is open. It's only 1 block away. If you're in town or permanent or visiting, you can have body work, massage, shamanic work, all kinds of different work done at the center, just 1 block away. But here we also have a crystal bed that people do some extraordinary multidimensional healings. Those probably are available today if you want one, if you're visiting, want to get one, or during the week. Today, though, is our once a month Sedona's monthly psychic fair is held here. So we have extraordinary readers. They'll be available if you'd like to, and I highly recommend that. If I were thinking about a relationship or a new job or whatever, I would highly recommend getting 2 and 3 readers and then blending what they said to, because when you watch for those consistent things they're saying and piece that together, and it really, that's what I would do. Always. I would just love corroborating what I'm feeling about a certain thing, a job, relationship, or whatever. Lastly, this Wednesday, we have our spiritual mentoring group. So that's every other Wednesday. Is it every other Wednesday? Yeah, every other Wednesday. And we just put, first and third week usually, we just put the chairs in a circle and we talk about healing, mind, body, emotions, do some work on ourselves, but we also learn how to share that with others. Okay? All right, thank you. Before we stand to do our closing prayer, I want to see who can figure out what that is. Is it? Let me have it. No.
Do you really want it?
God says no, but I would like to say yes.
It's another test.
Yeah, it's a test. Yeah, we'll keep that on the down low. I'm not going to mention that it was Dawn's. Dawn, the blonde gal that was sitting there. Let's just out her. Totally. That was her phone. Dawn, today is Psychic Sunday, okay? So I'm going to give you a quick reading. God is trying to connect with you and you're not answering. Wait, guilt. No, anyway. So please stand for a closing prayer. Thanks for spending the extra few minutes with us. Yeah, my pleasure. Can you see how the sharing today, the talk, can you see what that means to you personally? Yes. Can you allow it to mean like, oh my God, even when I go to the center and hear great stuff, it's me finding parts of myself. What you want to ask yourself is, do you like what you're finding in life? And when not, oops, I got some work to do. When you do, great, you've done great. Give thanks, pat yourself on the back for healthy choices. See, make it more interdependent experience. It's really beautiful. Soaking all of this in, we're affirming the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Beautifully so. Peace be with you all. Thanks.